I did this thing last year where every month I'd go live in a haunted location for a week and set up cameras and stream it the entire time. And my wife, it's just like any other investigation, we're doing it. And then some guy starts coming through. His name was Raymond. I always ask, what year is it for you? Like, that's a question I've asked from the beginning because I feel like a lot of them don't realize they're dead if they're dead, and they may not be dead.
Yeah.
So he said 2082. 2082, I was like, that's in front of me, not behind me.
Yeah.
He thought I was a ghost. So like, he's asking me to like knock on the wall. He thought I was the ghost that he was ghost hunting for in the same space that I was in now. I had this idea. I'm like, okay, so what's your grandfather's name? Because your grandfather's probably on Facebook. I get on Facebook and I find this guy that matches the exact city that this dude said he was from. And then he's like deep in interdimensional travel and astral projection threads. And right when I found his page and started scrolling on it, it said, this is getting dangerous, I have to go. And it just stopped.
Okay, hello everybody. So you would have just watched that video, which we've just seen. And we're going to be doing a podcast pretty much around that subject matter, diving deep into sort of time, sort of the spiritual idea of dimensions and the spiritual realm, that kind of thing. Now, my first things is that's just like insane, what's being said in that. I've never even thought of aspects like this. You've sort of mentioned stuff before, like saying, how do you know we're not haunted ourselves?
Yeah. I've had thoughts before where I thought like, when we've been going back to certain locations for weeks or maybe even years, maybe the things that we're seeing or hearing is us from another time of us being there.
The way in which, I mean, I'm no expert on it to say the least, but the way in which like we try and think about like time, some say that it's just a fabrication of humans. And I don't mean the clock with the sun, not that. Space-time is what we're referring to. Because your time is different to my time. Even if I stand up, the height difference between us, you're living a different time to me. Simply
by the tiniest bit though.
Yeah, by the tiniest bit. So when you try and apply that then to like what this guy's saying about, he's effectively saying that there's am I right in saying he's saying that he's contacted a potential, so to say, spirit or dimensional person from the future? Is that what I'm right in saying that?
It basically was what he was saying is how he is him, that's the ghost, but he's him.
What he's saying, and it's quite scary and it's hard to understand, but what he's saying is he's contacted the future. It's a freaky video. It's scary to watch, scary to listen to actually, because we have had moments on our investigations where we've come to the conclusion that maybe this could be a potential thing.
Yeah.
Space and time interfering with what we do.
It's really, really difficult to wrap your head around though, that like, well, first of all, okay, so let's say ghosts. Let's go hypothetically and say the concept of ghost is a real thing, and some people out there will believe in that. They also believe that the spirit realm or heaven or whatever you want to call it, they're different dimensional planes. And then what I then say is, well, according to physics, space-time is a dimension. So time is like what, the fourth dimension, I think. So if this spiritual realm is another dimension, it either means that it's within time itself, like Interstellar,
right,
or it's outside of that, which means again it can move anywhere. So that would suggest that the spirit entity or whatever you want to believe in technically could be in the past, present or future. So if it's a spirit in the sense of a living person has died that's passed over, there's nothing to suggest that me, you or you can haunt ourselves from the future. That's what that effectively means, that we could be traveling through time itself to haunt ourselves, because there's no time to comply to.
Yeah.
One thing we have noticed with what we do there, which is quite sketchy, is we investigate somewhere, we ask out, and we're very specific. We may go, can you move that object? Can you make that noise? Can you bang like this?
Yeah.
And it may not happen then. It will happen 2 hours later.
Another theory I had about time is that it's all happening at the same time. It's all happening
Oh,
together.
I know what you mean.
So-
the past, the present, and the future is
Past and
happening,
present-
happening, and happening.
Happen simultaneously.
Yeah.
Which could mean that whatever we're seeing or hearing is things from the past or the future, and it's all happening in that moment.
Like if everything's happening, that would basically mean that destiny, not in the sense of destiny in the, ooh, you're destined to,
No.
but it just means that everything is set. So
Yeah.
me deciding to pick my hat up was always going to happen, and there's nothing we can do about that
No.
because it's already happened. But that it gets really complicated then.
Well, people just use the simple term ghost hunting to go and do these things. If this was a thing and it was a theory that come alight, it would change, wouldn't it? It would be more like time seeking, not ghost hunting.
I don't even know how you would. I don't know how you would apply it. The only way you can apply this whole whoa of time stuff that's going on is when you also start looking at the idea of what people believe is the stone tape theory.
Well, the stone tape theory is only related to an inanimate object or something that exists, something you can touch. So, you know, what they say is the same materials, micro materials that are used in VHS tapes were also used in cement and brickwork, and they were the elements that you could record on. So the theory is the walls and the stone could record moments in time and then replay them at any given moment. So that's your stone tape theory.
Now, I know scientifically, right, that you can store data on inanimate objects. That's what a record is, right?
For the record. That's what the record is.
Yeah, like, so when years ago when they were recording before vinyl, it was like a tin foil like type, aluminium or aluminum for the Americans. And then when they were recording it, they were trying to record this sound for music. People were talking in the room whilst it was being recorded, and their voices got captured onto the.
But then see what I mean?
the thing.
That's crazy. Like that whole concept anyway is crazy. So what's stopping like inanimate objects that we were saying
being able to
capture?
But it's a
things like
little bit.
walls and-
It's a bit more extensive because the stone tape theory then extends to it isn't just sound; it's actual events. So it's like a murder in a room, and everything inanimate has captured that murder, and then it replays the murder forever and a day. You have something very bizarre going on in your family's house.
Yeah, so basically in my family home where I grew up, before my parents got the house, it was owned by this painter, and he used to wash his paintbrushes in the sink in the kitchen. Still to this day, my parents could smell paint where the sink was. They've been to both neighbours, and they can't find the paint. There's no one painting next door, or no one painting on that other side.
And the sink's no longer there.
And the sink's no longer there, but they can smell thick smell of paint.
You hear of this happening
And sometimes
a lot
paint thinner as well, which is really odd.
from other people.
So it's just like, can it not capture smells as well?
Well, yeah, objects can capture smells. They can, like items of clothing can contain
but I mean,
stench.
But
you know what I mean?
how can it? I can understand that. Like, say if we were by a bonfire now, our clothes would smell like smoke.
You
Yeah.
get other ones like
But you can.
Paint
you can-
deteriorates.
But
over-
paint deteriorates. Paint gets redone. Like walls
Yeah,
get redone over
the
time.
smell
But
the smell goes away.
But if the smell can go away, why? Like for example, with that theory, if I'm wearing this T-shirt now, but I was at a bonfire 3 weeks ago and I washed the T-shirt, it won't ever smell of that bonfire again. It won't go, oh my god, it's a bonfire again.
other people
So what
have had
is
it where they go, it'd be like, you know, we're suddenly sat here, and then all of a sudden this like old perfume smell comes in, and it's like, it smells like their nan's old perfume, and it's just out of nowhere randomly. And it's that's really, really weird. Like I can't even begin to try and understand how that even works. But I can kind of get my head around, you know, items moving by themselves, and I just go, well, that's just something I can't physically see. Maybe it's a different realm.
The only
but
thing,
smell?
Yeah, but the only thing that you could kind of point that to, if you're going to point to anything, which kind of makes sense to me, is with stuff like smell. Smell is something that your senses have created. It's like you smell it from the part of your body.
Right.
So like, how is it not a memory can form a smell? Because if your memory remembers that, when you breathe in that one moment, your memory could have jigged and had that familiar smell in your head.
Or do you so what you're thinking? You're imagining the smell from a memory.
I don't know whether you possibly could.
There was a story, I can't remember where it was posted, but the feed stated that there was a student building that was constructed on an old location, and they had some weird things going on. I can't remember who posted it now, but they had a medium of sorts go in there and try and read what was going on.
Right.
And she said that it once was an old library. And
books.
yeah, that's it.
Wow.
She could pick up on the scent of books. She didn't know no information, she just could pick up on the scent of books. And the old books have a smell.
Yeah, I know.
Old books have a smell.
Yeah, I know what you
And
mean.
it's very distinct, you know? So these type of things do linger around. They do, but not paint.
How does that work? Like there's so much to like try to digest. I mean, there's people out there like believers that just go, it works because it does. It's an astral thing. And you know, the explanations are all going to be very out there explanations. I'm finding it difficult to just accept the ideologies of, you know, this whole astral thing, or you know when people start talking about astral stuff, or
astral projection and stuff like that.
Astral projection, or chakras,
Do you
or
believe
auras, and nah. But then that's just because I can't. That's what I'm saying, because it cannot comply with logic in my brain. But I don't think with some of the stuff we're doing, there is any logic to it, as far as I'm aware.
I don't think there's any logic to anything that we're doing.
If it could be proven, it would have been proven already.
Yeah, that's a point.
Right?
That is a point.
Because it's so active. It's a bandwagon. People are doing it all the time at the minute.
Right, let's just get over the fact that smells are happening and the thing that thing's happening. But how can that work? So here's another example of it. People say sometimes they will see a physical manifestation of somebody walking, and they come through a room and they walk through a wall. You've heard stories of this. Yeah. And then the explanation is the reason they're walking through the wall is because back in the 17th century there used to be an arch there and the wall didn't exist, and all they're doing is it's a repeat thing, like you're saying, right? My issue with that, if argument, let's hypothetically say that that's a real thing, because we can't say it isn't or is, right? So hypothetically, let's say that's happening. My issue with it is, how can that happen? Because that wall, so that, let's say this wall behind me now, okay? In 200 years time, that wall physically is not within the same space-time. Because the Earth is moving within the solar system. The solar system's moving within the galaxy, and the galaxy's moving within the universe.
But then what you're saying is the wall's not here.
You're talking about space and time.
Yeah, so that's saying that the event, Margaret walking through the arch, where the arch used to be, and she's doing it. That's saying that the event is physically moving with space-time.
I kind of understand what you mean. Are you kind of saying it in a way where you're saying Margaret
It should.
is Margaret's scenario there of walking. She might not have walked through a wall. She might have just been walking down the street
in that
but
moment.
But because that moment is past, obviously all physical elements follow us.
Yeah.
But the spirit, that's
So
crazy.
basically, if you physically snapped your finger now and went back in time 3 months, you'd be in space and die.
It's why you can't go back in time. If you get a time machine and we went back 200 years, we would be back 200 years, but we'd be in the middle of space because everything's moved.
Yeah, so it's all
I
weird.
don't like that.
It's all a jumble.
Yeah, but then surely it's the same thing where you can't go into the future, can you? It's just not written.
Well, we can. We're doing it right now.
Yeah, but we're just trying to apply logic to the
Yeah,
situation.
but we are traveling. We're traveling through. Well, yeah, we're going back to the future.
So when you imply, then when you take that and then you chuck in the thing that the guy is saying in that video, the stone tape theory, and the thing with the sink and all of that stuff, and you then put that into the mix, it gets really complicated then.
Yeah, because what he's stating is in that moment in time, he's contacting someone from the future in that very space, that same space, right, in that moment, and he's having a conversation. And you're kind of going, hold on a minute, so what's the chances of that time and space being there at that moment? That's huge, because if we're moving,
which we are, and everything's in different places.
Everything should move.
But it's not that. This is what's happening. This is our sun. That's us. This is what's happening.
Yeah.
That's what's going on.
Yes.
We're going round. It's never that.
And then you've got this also going.
Yeah, but then also you've got that. No. You've got this. Then you've got that, and then you've got that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. You've got our planet going around our sun going around the galaxy with the other stars, and then you've got the galaxy moving, along with the other universes moving.
And
effectively, everything is moving.
And then yet people go, the event will only happen at 3 a.m. What the hell is 3 a.m.?
But the thing is, though, is you've got to remember, time is a concept that's only been invented here.
Yeah.
Time is the only thing with it, and also you've got to remember, right? If we are not our age, you know that, right?
No, yeah, no, I know.
It completely defeats the point if you leave this planet.
Yeah.
And if someone was born on Mars, there'll be one, and it might be three.
That's how it works.
But that's why, in terms of what we're saying about, we can never go back in time, we can never go forward in time, it's because time doesn't exist. Everything is happening now. Every single second and moment is happening right now. But we're only seeing it in our reality. So what I've just said then is happening right now.
But then how does then...
We're in Stuff Mills right now, and we're in Lee Woods. And we're at the Ram.
Yeah,
right now.
How can...
All at the same time. All at the same time. All at the same time.
Billy, you're going to rot his mind.
I know, but that's the point of what I was saying earlier about how everything is simultaneously. There's no past, there's no present, no future. And do you know how fucking fucked up time is, right? So, how does it make sense, right? If I was born, say, if I was born right now,
right,
at the same fucking time as someone in Australia was born.
Yeah.
We are the same age, but we're a day apart. His birthday's tomorrow. No, his birthday was yesterday.
But you're born at the same time.
But we're born at the same fucking time. How does that work out?
Well, if we're talking about sun time and not space time, so the time of the position of the Earth in relation to the sun, the other thing that never makes any sense is when people go, you'll only get something during the witching hour. It's like, well, what is the witching hour?
Yeah, but exactly.
My witching hour here is someone else's witch.
But see,
our 3 a.m. is Australia's.
Yeah, but this is just comes
3
down
p.m.
to
You know what I mean?
Books and stories that have formulated over the time. The witching hour. It sounds creepy, right? I mean, no one's really experienced.
Well, even take it that way from it. When people go, we have activity happen. We've even said it. People will go, activity seems to happen between 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock. What is 10 o'clock
weird,
and
but
11
there could be
o'clock?
many factors for this. It could be, the moon could play a part in certain things. the moon can affect behavior as well. Like there's lots of
The
different
moon-
factors,
the
right?
moon-
Lots of different factors. What interests me is the space and time aspect of what this is about. So we are technically here now, but a day later we are going to be miles that way, right? Because we're no longer in that space and time. Now, if we're looking for an answer to this of why we remain in that time, it could be because of the stone tape theory. It could be that we are connected to an object, that energy formulates in that moment with the objects around.
I get what you're saying, but his sink's gone.
The brickwork's still there. I mean, you look, there's a lot of American channels out there that get a lot of activity in places. There's lots more locations to go to. It's loaded and riddled with it. The paranormal is huge in America. And, you know, the locations are nature. The locations, you know, the buildings are structured by wood structure. Or does that play a different part?
Yeah, the trees will, you can shout at a tree, and then that tree will store your shout. I think there is something to that.
You know, so
Yeah,
you've got to
yeah.
look at that as a theory. You know, our buildings are like brick, and
I don't know how you would replay it though. That's the problem.
I don't know how you would replay it.
Because at the moment, like, it needs physical intervention. Like you could have your vinyl record up on the side of the shelf, but it ain't suddenly going to start playing Billie Jean unless you put it in the machine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very true.
This is just out there, right? Because it's just a movie. But what we do is a very similar principle. We do get activity, and we're very different to the other groups out there. You shout a lot. Now, if you look at the movie Ghostbusters, when he's shouting at that ooze,
Oh, and it starts going.
and it goes, yeah.
Well, the
he's
thing
getting
is
a
with
reaction.
Ghostbusters, I think I know this, that I believe it was Dan Aykroyd actually researched a lot of genuine concepts within the lore of the paranormal. So there's a lot of genuine things which they're basing their things on.
Yeah.
Um,
And this could be a thing. This is why we get what we get. But not a lot of groups out there want to be like you.
but I don't, when it comes to all this sort of like, are we haunting ourselves? Can the future be affecting the past? Can spirits travel through space-time itself? And is there even such thing as space-time, or is it all happening, going to happen at the same time? That it's all a bit out there. I mean, some of you who are watching this might be able to know more. If a physicist happens to stumble upon this and wants to tear us completely in half and give us some sort of like proper principle and stuff, then feel free, because I don't claim to know everything. I really don't.
It's just an interesting subject.
It's just, we're all like sort of just playing with ideas, aren't we? Really.
Yeah, we are.
And like fun concepts at the end of the day. So yeah, if anyone does have any idea of this madness or wants to say
Yes.
anything themselves, then please
Let us
feel
know.
free to do so. I'm hoping that everything's been recorded in this. Please subscribe, like, and share, and yeah, just keep watching. Chuck some comments in. Do you want us to talk about anything else?